The Sephora savings event is coming. Are you ready to get
this and that? I don't gotta choose.
You're right. You don't. Shop all your favorite makeup, skincare, hair care, and fragrances for less. Find brands like Rare Beauty, Glow Recipe, Valentino, K18, and everything else you want on sale starting November 1st. The Sephora savings event is almost here. Shop the sale at Sephora and Sephora at Kohl's. Limitations apply. Must be a beauty insider. See terms at Sephora.com for complete details.
This episode is brought to you by Atlassian. Atlassian makes the team collaboration software that powers enterprise businesses around the world, including over 80% of the Fortune 500. With Atlassian's AI-powered software like Jira, Confluence, and Loom, you'll have more time to do the work that matters. In fact, Atlassian customers experience a 25% reduction in project duration per year. Unleash the potential of your team at Atlassian.com. Atlassian.
Good morning, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I'm really delighted about today's guest, Sam Swirsky. He's actually from Houston and now lives in Dallas, but he's on LinkedIn and he calls himself the LinkedIn Futurist. And he's a LinkedIn rapid growth coach for founders and teams. What's really interesting is he's got this mayor of LinkedIn and he's got a 30-day LinkedIn growth package. And I'm really happy to have him on to talk all things about LinkedIn. I'm growing on LinkedIn as well. Sam, welcome.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for the kind introduction. You actually went to my LinkedIn profile. I'm looked into it. That's great.
Yeah. First off, just talk about your story. It looks like you're xacquisition.com. And I'm really happy to dive into the conversation.
Yeah, sure. I got started on LinkedIn a few years ago. I had a couple of brothers that were like, Sam, you got to get over on LinkedIn. I was like, look, I've got a blue collar background. I've never really worked in corporate. I don't even have a college degree. I don't know what I'm going to get on LinkedIn and even say. And I thought, well, maybe if I just study the platform really well and just be really encouraging to people there, then somehow that'll work out. And little did I know that was the best possible strategy to use. And I just worked really hard at it. I got to work with some pretty awesome people. Justin Welsh and Jennifer Welsh hired me to work as their community manager for an online community that they had for a while. And then that just snowballed into different opportunities down the line. And really, it was just people taking a chance on me. Good at the first, I didn't really know what I was doing. And then eventually I just grew from there. And then I was working in another LinkedIn community for this guy called Tesleen. And the recruiter for acquisition.com reached out, and I guess the rest is history. So
interesting. And because what's interesting is I'm building to be the LinkedIn live streaming king for doctors and also the LinkedIn shorts king for doctors. But yeah, what do you mean by mayor of LinkedIn? And
I literally just added that, I think yesterday or maybe the day before. I have some friends who've been calling me that. I don't know if it'll stick around. But I had like a LinkedIn retreat where I took some creators to just like a retreat spot in just a house in Arkansas. We just had a good time for a few days and they just started calling me the mayor of LinkedIn. So it was just a nod to them. I guess it's just because I know a lot about LinkedIn. I'm pretty welcoming presence on the platform. So it's like being the mayor. Nobody elected me. It's a non-elected position.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually looking at it looks like you have a good sense of the algorithm and how to grow. One thing I was curious for a lot of people is why LinkedIn versus why not Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, Substack, Medium? Compare LinkedIn to these platforms.
I'm a fan of all those platforms. I think they're all great platforms to be on. LinkedIn is the biggest B2B platform. I think something like 80% of B2B business is done through LinkedIn leads and that kind of thing that can be captured from social media. So it's every other social media is competing for B2C and LinkedIn is B2B. And there's not really a serious contender for that. So if you want to sell something like lip gloss or some other kind of smaller thing, then hey, every other platform works great. If you want to sell like a $50,000 CRM system, LinkedIn's your vet. There's not a lot of competition for what LinkedIn does. That's what makes it stand out.
Mm. And a follow-up question I have for you is for example, because I missed out on the early days, like I missed out on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. And so I was like, I got to go all in on social media. I got to really build a presence, built up 10K following on TikTok and built a podcast. And is it too late to grow on LinkedIn or is it the platform saturated? Because for example,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. because the early days of the platforms, it was like really easy to grow, but now when they saturate, they penalize the algorithm. Is harder to
Mhm.
track.
Mhm. Yeah, it's definitely not the early days of LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn has been around for almost 20 years or something. And the heyday of LinkedIn, from what I've seen from following different people and going way back in time and looking at different posts and stuff, the heyday of LinkedIn was probably 2017 to about 2020. That's when people were growing like crazy. And now it's okay. If people join LinkedIn today, they are late, but they are not too late. Because most people don't really have any kind of solid strategy. They just get on there, they post every once in a while, they hope they do okay. It doesn't work out. It's not going to work out, honestly, for most people if they don't have any kind of strategy, because there's so many creators there, right? There's probably 5 or 6 times as many creators today as there were 5 or 6 years ago. So the way to get on is to have a genuine strategy. Now, the tough thing about LinkedIn is that it can be hard to find the really good people that are talking about LinkedIn. And if you just go on Google, this is something that's really unique about LinkedIn. LinkedIn posts, there's no SEO. There's no SEO for LinkedIn posts. There's SEO for LinkedIn articles. So if you want to find the really good LinkedIn information, you have to be on the platform and know the right people and be already following them. Versus if you just Google how to do LinkedIn, you're going to get a bunch of HubSpot articles and different things like that. And nothing against HubSpot, but just usually they're put together by writers that are trying to research things online. And the really good information about LinkedIn is in LinkedIn. You have to be in the platform to find the good information. And so it's really tough for people that are brand new.
Yeah. What is the one thing that people are doing wrong that is preventing their growth on LinkedIn?
I think the number one thing that people are doing wrong is that they don't understand that LinkedIn is a reciprocation platform. So LinkedIn is very insulated compared to any other platform. We care, the LinkedIn community is very strong. There's these two levels, and the level above, and I just read a post about it, is everyone who just joins and they don't really know any creators and they don't understand how to use the platform themselves. And then like below is everyone who's all the major creators who have discovered each other. And it's really rich because your feed at first, when you first start off, LinkedIn has an uncurated feed, which means that they don't find good posts for you to look at right away compared to a lot of other platforms. If you join YouTube right away, they're just going to say, hey, these are some of the best videos from across the platform before you even start to follow people. LinkedIn doesn't do that. LinkedIn will just show you the post from your immediate audience. And most of the time, people are not connected to major content creators or people who even really like to talk about specific issues. They're going to see 90% posts that are about job anniversaries and things like that. So I think I got a little off trail there, but it's a little bit tricky. So what you got to do is you got to find a creator or two that really know what they're talking about and then find the other creators through them. I did the same thing when I started out in the platform. I had this friend, Junaid, he's in New York, Junaid Iqbal, great guy. And he's a bigger creator. He had a ton of people that were comments. His posts, I started following those people and he just grew from there. So it's got almost like that 1980s, 90s hacker feel where you gotta find out the little secrets and everything. And that's part of what to me makes LinkedIn fun, but I imagine to many other people, it makes it very frustrating.
Yeah. I really doubled down on LinkedIn because there was like, I was actually like so active on like Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, and these like platforms gave me crumb for the amount of time I spent on them. And then like, was just growing like crazy. I wouldn't have to do anything. It's just like, one week I have an extra 100 followers. And I'm like, wow. But I guess the other question I have for you, because you mentioned creators and a lot of people think LinkedIn is a resume, like they think it's just like a resume. Talk about if you're a thought leader or influencer or creator, how you can use LinkedIn to build a brand and grow a business.
Yeah, LinkedIn's pretty cool because it's a self-regulated platform. Everyone's, for the most part, just agreed not to talk about hot button issues like politics and other things. And it's also, in some ways, it's becoming more like Facebook where it's just whatever somebody's doing that day. But for the most part, a lot of especially when you get down deeper and you follow the right creators and you curate your own feed, LinkedIn is really specific towards business interests. So if you really focus in on following those people, you can learn from them a lot. There's a culture to every platform. Like when I go on Facebook, posts on Facebook read different than posts on LinkedIn, which is cool. I'm thinking about copying some of those posts, bringing them over to LinkedIn. But the more you get into it, you follow different people. You just got to practice, just keep going. And it comes to you after a while. Persistence is really a big thing.
Mm-hmm. What type of posts is LinkedIn prioritizing? Is it live? Is it shorts? Is it pictures? Talk more about what they were feeding you.
So LinkedIn used to be primarily just text, right? That was the main thing. And now people do all kinds of posts. So they're really pushing video right now because they have a video TikTok feature. It's in beta mode, so not everyone has it. I think most iPhone users have it. They're very particular. They're very much against Android users for some reason. But if you have an iPhone, then there's a good chance that you can already post their videos are the platform. So it's a little feed that you can go on. I think pretty much anyone can access the feed, but not everyone can post right now. So definitely the video is really big, but then also just multimedia. LinkedIn is cool because I think as a platform, it actually supports more types of media than any other platform. People think that LinkedIn is just it's not like a real creators platform. It's like, spit some time in there, create a few different posts. You'll see, because you can put up memes and GIFs and videos and long form videos up to 15 minutes and infographics and carousels and all kinds of things. The feed on LinkedIn, I think, is more varied than any other platform that you go onto. So really, if you just have variety, I think that's going to do a lot for you. Some people will just stick to one type of post and they find that they'll get an audience surrounding that. I think there's a little bit of danger in that because you can grow as a content creator and not necessarily grow clients. So if you just want to have a lot of viral posts or posts that do really well, you can. It's not always going to bring you actual paying clients. So make sure that you actually have real, tangible posts that actually provide value, that aren't just entertaining. And that's the way they go. And you can do it with any kind of format.
Yeah, I love this idea because you talked about this engagement, and love this engagement and the number of followers that kind of increases your brand reputation and visibility. Ultimately, it's like you have to monetize. So how do people monetize on LinkedIn? You talked about B2B or B2C, but what are some of the other ways that creators or influencers are monetizing on LinkedIn?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I appreciate you asking that. It's clear that you've done your homework. There's two different methods that people use, probably three, right? One is, hey, I'm just going to grow as a creator and get as many people to follow my brand as I can and be known for something. And that's what I did probably the first year and a half, 2 years. And it's not a very effective method because if you're just known for something, unless you're in a super niche field, there's going to be 15, 20, 100 other people that are known for that same thing. And if they have clear directives on their profile, they're going to be the people who get business versus you. So I think that the core method that people need to have is they need to have clear offers. So that would be, if somebody goes, let's say, to your headline, it indicates a clear offer. If somebody goes to your about section, there's a clear offer. And then there's a clear kind of directive of what the next step somebody should take is. So that might be getting on a call with you or sending you a DM or something like that. And that's really frustrating for a lot of people. I think they don't realize, because for any business owner, they understand their business inside and out, right? Nobody knows your business but you. But when somebody's coming in, it's hard to see what they might be confused with as far as your brand. And then there's the sales side of that. It's, okay, are you just creating content or are you actually reaching out to people who might be interested in your service and developing a rapport with them? That's really the kind of tricky thing, because there's so much. You can go the mass volume route, which is where you just send out an enormous amount of messages, just pitching people and then hoping somebody hires you for your service, which may work. I've seen it work for people. The problem with that method is that it doesn't do you any favors as far as building your brand. So if you have a long-term vision of where you want your brand to go, that's not really going to help that long-term vision. Versus if you develop a rapport with people, even if they don't end up buying from you, then you've built up a fan. You've built up a fan who's going to continue to engage with content and basically be an engaged audience member potentially forever. And then there's the people who don't send out any kind of messages and hope that people just reach out to them and try to give them money. For some people, maybe that works, but that's bad stuff.
Yeah. The other thing is, yeah, it's quite, like I said, I really love that. I think that's where my tribe is, and that's why it's so easy to grow there. Talk about how people, like, what creates like you talked about clear offer, which is like very key. And how do people create engaging content and posts? Just the structure.
Yeah. So some of it's going to be osmosis where you're just following great creators, let's say Justin Welsh or Max Pashvin or someone like that. And you're just seeing, okay, this is a really good way to present to an audience. The structure of a post on LinkedIn matters a lot. So if somebody is looking at one of your posts and it's just all over the place, and maybe as well as the flow of the post. So you can, I've seen it where people present ideas in the beginning, and then those ideas get lost in translation, and then they read it at the end. So you really need to come at your posts thinking of, okay, if I were not me reading my post and I was just some random person, would this be a post that I'd want to engage on? You can do that. You can use ChatGPT as well, especially if you're beginning, because people have a hard time just putting themselves out there. So write for your post, go to ChatGPT, say, hey, can you change this up? The problem with ChatGPT is that a ChatGPT post typically is not going to be as good as someone who's a decent writer, even still. And so it's very much a beginning thing. It's, hey, get your information out there, get some posts out. Because I've seen it where people, they're so terrified of you putting their opinion out that they'll write up an entire post and then they'll never post it, or they will post it and it doesn't get engagement after, let's say, 20 minutes, and then they just delete the post. And they keep doing that over and over. And look, we all had to fight through that at first, where we put out a whole bunch of posts. In fact, I made an article about that a while ago where I compared major LinkedIn creators. I went all the way down to the bottom of their posts. And a lot of these people who are now seen as overnight successes spent a long time building out those posts. And if you need some help, it might be worth hiring a coach to help teach you how to write, to show you some of the ropes of the algorithm as well. Because for certain people, they just have a natural gift in writing. I would consider myself like that. I could just write papers when I was a kid and do pretty good without even really trying that hard. Or in those papers, I write all the time. It's just something that comes naturally to me. And so that's a little bit of an unfair advantage that I have. If somebody's coming to the platform and they don't have that natural gift of writing, one really easy technique that they can do is to comment. Everyone on LinkedIn should be commenting, like a lot, is basically my opinion. And if you leave a really good comment on someone's post, just consider taking that comment and maybe changing it slightly and then making it a post. Because it's far easier for people to come up with comments than it is to come up with the entirety of a post. But it doesn't have to be that long. 2 or 3 sentences, maybe a nice little graphic or image that you found online, or meme or something that you think is funny, and put it out there. It really takes repetition. I've posted for myself probably, I don't know, 1,000, 1,200 times or something like that. And so after a while, it just comes naturally, but just keep going at it. And people are super nice on LinkedIn too.
Yeah.
That's one of the things about other platforms is, my gosh, you go on Twitter and people are just ready to tear each other apart for no apparent reason sometimes. And so people coming from other platforms, they're being very harshly judged. Okay, I want to get some content up on LinkedIn, but I don't want to be judged. A lot of people are going to be encouraging just because you're trying. That's how I am. I see somebody who's put up a new post. I'm like, hey, way to go. Keep going. You got this. Keep being persistent. And there's a ton of people like myself that are just really encouraging to new creators. Welcome to LinkedIn. Join the tribe. We're not going to judge you for not writing a perfect post your first time. We're just happy to have you here.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. And to sum it up, because I know this is really a fascinating area to really grow on LinkedIn. So how can people find you? I know you got also a LinkedIn course and you teach individuals how to grow and scale. So how can people reach you and follow you?
Yep. Just find me on LinkedIn. I'm the only one of me on LinkedIn. That's the nice thing about having a unique name. So Sam Swirsky, I'm the only one. Just find me and connect with me. I've dabbled with some websites in the past, but your LinkedIn profile is really powerful as a website in of itself. It's the best social media platform profile by far out of any other social media site. You can do so much with it. If people want help, either just growing on LinkedIn, they can reach out to me. I also am proud to be the largest curator of LinkedIn free resources out of anyone on the entire platform. So I have hundreds and hundreds of free resources that I share with people. They reach out to me and I say, hey, look into this. It'll help you figure things out. So that's one way that people can get started.
Yeah, excellent. And again, I'm really happy to connect with you and add you to my networking community and keep up the great work.
Same. I'm excited to chat on LinkedIn and see what you got going on.